I'm going to mute.
Right. Well, let's begin. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see so many of you on the call. Obviously, a lot of interest in the club, as we would expect. For those of you who don't know, my name's Keith Povar. I'm currently chairman of Shirley Park Golf Club. And together with my colleagues on the board, we're here today to start what we hope will become more of a regular Q&A think tank session with the members. The format of today is as follows, please. I'm going to read out the questions, or the main gist of the questions, if they're long ones especially, that have been received so far. And one member of the board will be asked then to answer each part of the question. If the member who sent in that question then wishes, they can also ask a follow-up question, just one follow-up question. We don't want it to get to a particular issue starts dominating the proceedings. As I said already, and I'll repeat myself, there's going to be more occasions in the future for us to go over things. So if you find that at the end of today's session you've still got questions, please rest assured it won't be the only chance. We can always email anybody. Feel free to email me, myself or Steve Murphy going forward, as well as obviously other future occasions when we're going to have these Q&As. Now, at the moment, you've all been muted. On the taskbar at the bottom of the Zoom page, you'll see that there are different tabs. If you click on the Reactions tab, you'll be able to raise your hand. And that is obviously if you wish to ask a question. And then hopefully in turn, we will be able to unmute you and you'll be able to ask your question. I'll also ask you at that time, once you've asked your question, then you can please click back on the Reactions tab and lower your hand. So we're not seeing it still there. You can ask a question through the chat box as well. Obviously, I will keep that open at the side of my screen to see if there's anybody in particular who's asking a question through the chat box. Depending on how many questions we actually have, we think this meeting hopefully will last approximately about 1.5 hours. But if we find we have a lot more questions than anticipated, we may have to answer them, as I said, further questions by email, and then we'll publish those on the forum. Now, this meeting is being recorded, so it will be posted on the forum for you to view and for other members to view, obviously, at a later date, probably next week. Okay, so I would like to begin proceedings now. I'm going to read through some of these questions that I've got in front of me. The first question is from Jamie Burrows, and it's about the future plans. What are the future plans for the golf course? Surrounding clubs have 5-year plans and 12-month plans, but Shirley Park doesn't seem to have any. So that's question number one, and I would ask Steve Denman, please, to answer that. Steve, you need to come off mute now, Steve.
Just pushing it.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Well, I'm Steve Denman. I've been given the task of golf director by the other board members. And to answer your question, Jamie, what we've done, after being given the golf directorship just over 4 weeks ago, what we've done is me, Keith, and another couple of guys from the board have gone up to see Richard and had a long, in-depth chat with him. And I can see your concerns. At the end of the day, there is some untidy spots on the golf course. But to answer your question more bluntly, is that me and Keith are now compiling a roadmap. And we're getting through it, and then we're going to introduce the roadmap, and you'll be able to see it on the forum or wherever we decide to put it, but you will be able to see it. And that's going to be a plan, and we're going to try to make it a 12-month to 18-month roadmap. Obviously, some things weather permitting, but Richard and his crew have to do certain jobs at certain times anyway. But little projects that come along, or even major projects, they're going to be fitted in. And when he can do them, if we can't do them, then we're going to set them back, and then away we go from there. So I know you had a bit of a qualm with the 8th tee box as well. I've asked Richard to go up there. He's taken the old mats away and he's raked that, he's seeded it. But I have actually walked the course. I've walked the course 2 or 3 times a week, early in the mornings. And there's a lot of things that I've wrote down already. And other people have wrote me emails and texts and talking on the telephone. And I've put them all in. We've sent them to the board, sent them to Richard, and Richard is working his way through them now. So hopefully that will clear things up for you. Good.
Thanks very much, Steve. Before I go back to Jamie, I've got one other question that Jamie's asked, which I'll direct to Neil Davis. The club are still collecting a fee from each member for course improvement projects. Where has this been spent, and what will it be spent on next year? Neil?
Yeah, okay. I guess when I come onto the board, you have to look at how the accounts are going and what the sort of practices are that we have been carrying on for a few years. We've been doing this £10 a year special projects, and I know Janet has mentioned this as well in a later question. I think it originally emanated from the centenary year, where we would collect a tenner from everybody, put that into an account, and earmark that for project work. Now, I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets to say that, golf clubs have obviously struggled through the years. That money is in the account, but has become part of our sort of working capital, if you like. So I took it on board to move all of those £10 we've collected through the years into a project account. There's also mention of the famous Raju Martin monies, which totaled about 11 grand for the 19th bar. And I've also moved that into an account, very much the same as if you were collecting money off your friends for a holiday fund or something. It's a very simplistic way of accounting, but we move it into a designated deposit account and then spend the money from there. So when the guys come to me and talk about, the fence, painting the clubhouse, the trees on the 13th, we can see if we've got that money in our savings account, if you like. So far we've spent, I'm trying to read my own writing, I think just over 19,000. We've got another 18,000 to go out with a couple of small jobs. So I think by May, we will have spent 40,000 of that money. And then after that is whether we allocate some of our monies that we're getting from the government. We're getting little windfalls from them. If we can keep the trading at the level it is at the moment, then hopefully we can spend more and more on these projects. So I know we've talked about loads of things before, but hopefully you can see some action now, and things are coming, being put into place. So when you come back on the 29th of March, you'll see 1 or 2 new additions there. Okay.
Great, thank you, Neil. Well, that's Jamie. Have you got anything you want to ask on top of that? If you don't raise your hand, I'll presume you're okay.
No, that's all good. Okay, thank you, gents.
Great, thank you, Jamie. Right, good news. Moving on to question 2, or should I say the second set of questions. These are from Steve Coyne. Now, this is a long list, and basically Steve has asked about future improvements to the course, talking about new tees, bunkers, trees to be planted, a lot in here, and obviously I'm very happy to share this with any of the membership, and we can certainly, as I say, circulate Steve's email. It's very, very good, and it's in a lot of detail, far too long for me to read out now, but again, I'm sure that Steve Denman's gone through the majority of this. So Steve, will you answer some of the questions, please?
Hello, Steve. Listen, as I say, what we've done with Richard, we've had quite lengthy talks with him to think about going out now and planting trees and new bunkers and stuff like that. I totally agree with you that we haven't planted trees for years and years and years, but only been in the job for just 1 month. So what we're trying to do is, if we can get this roadmap going, we can walk the golf course with members. and come up with some ideas. We talk it all the time. I was talking with your father about putting some bushes out there in between certain tee boxes and stuff like that to silence the guys on the tee, silence the guys on the greens. I'm in total agreement with you. The course would benefit from more bunkers, trees in certain places, but we certainly do need to address it. And I think what we'll do is we'll try to get it on this roadmap of ours that we're going to do. But first and foremost, I'm not, listen, I'm not here to slag anybody off or anything like that, but I think Richard might have just fallen slightly behind with some of the leaves are still in the troughs out there that collect the water and stuff like that. And I was even on the phone to him this afternoon. So at the end of the day, I think we've got to look after the golf course that we've got now. Just give us a few months, give us 6 months or something. Let's get it up to date. Let's get it nice. We certainly want to get it nice for you guys when you come back on the 29th. Get it as best as it can be. Then we can talk about making some competition tees, building some competition tees and making it put some more trees, plant some trees, make some bunkers and stuff like that. And I totally agree with you. I'll take everything on board. And I'm looking forward so we can walk the golf course with 2 or 5 members and we can move forward from there.
Yeah. Can I just add to what Steve just said, a little bit more detail about the roadmap that we're putting together. Steve, Richard and myself will sit down in the next few weeks. Richard is coming up with a list of things that he wants to particularly concentrate on in April, May, June. And together we're going to sit down, we're going to take along information such as this list here that you've produced, Steve, along with everything else that we're doing. And we're then going to put it into the roadmap and start prioritising. The idea is we look at things that need doing on an daily, weekly, monthly basis that Richard and his team will always do. Then we're going to look at seasonal things that he needs to do that are regular every year. Then we will look at planned maintenance that he knows needs doing, things that obviously will come along. And then on top of that as well, the special projects. Everything in the roadmap will be color coded, so people will be able to follow it and see exactly where we're at. Of course, none of it is set in stone, because the fact is that there will be emergencies and things will happen and things will get pushed back. We know that, but it's a working document that we will all work along with, and it will change. Every month it'll change, but it'll be working along with it. And we will, as Steve said earlier on, we will work out how we're going to actually get this communicated to all the members so they can also see and have a look at regularly, see what this the roadmap is saying and what is going to happen. And so then you won't get that constant chat going around and saying, what about the problem here and the problem there? Because if you look at the roadmap, it'll tell you. And well, hopefully it will. And so that hopefully will be the answer to most people's queries. Steve Coyne, you want to ask a question? Please do. You better unmute yourself first, Steve. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Steve.
Sorry, I didn't really mean to say anything there, Keith. But yeah, no, I agree with what you say. Thanks for your comments, Steve.
Thank you.
It sounds like to me it's moving now in the right direction. I think it was being more proactive rather than being reactive when sort of someone says something. More that a lot of the stuff that we're saying on a regular basis should be picked up by the greenkeepers just doing their general work. So hopefully with a few extra ideas that we can create as members, then we're really moving in the right direction. But I like the transparency, what Keith's saying. Everyone should be able to see the document, know where we're at, and then there won't be the talk amongst members of, oh, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Oh, what if people know that we can't afford to do that, or the money's being spent elsewhere, then they accept it and move on.
Agreed. Great.
But yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Right. Next question is from Mark Summers. And this is, I don't think Mark, I'm not sure, I can't see if he's on the call, but I'll read out the gist of what he's written. He's saying, noting the chairman's blog to contemplate a significant project to install drainage on the course. I note the requirement to safeguard the condition of the course obviously is important, but he's also asking, his question is is the best investment for the club in terms of safeguarding the longer term future of the club? Would it be the clubhouse and things like the Spike Bar? And he's going on to ask about, obviously, saying that we've got a very good geographical position and we should take full advantage of this, and that we should be promoting ourselves for our functions, and very much more wanting to see whether we're actually going to spend more money on the clubhouse. That was the essence of it, with some very nice ideas and plans that he's put forward. Anyway, obviously we can't do everything, but I'm sure that Neil's going to answer basically the general consensus of feeling from the board. So Neil.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess it's always a sort of $1 million question, isn't it? Whether you do the stadium or the team first. But hopefully we can do something on both of them. If we get the club to a position where we're making a trading profit, the key to everything, as you know, is the finance. So Wentworth is very easy for them because they've got more money than you can, throw against the wall. So if we can get that sorted, then we can decide what to do. I've always been keen that Shirley Park we don't want to turn it into a pay and play or have a junior disco there every week, but we need to be a bit more commercial and fill the beautiful clubhouse. For it to be empty on occasions is, criminal in my book. So we need to get more events in there, be it internal, external, and then obviously that will give us more money. We can put that on the course, and that will attract more people to Shirley Park. But what I would say, Mark, I couldn't see you on the Zoom call, hopefully you're there somewhere, is that anything we do that would involve major investment or spend, I think we should come out by Survey Monkey to you, and we'll talk to the members from there and get you to decide how we're going to direct any major spend. So rest assured, we won't be rushing into a massive irrigation project without really coming out to canvass opinion.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Neil. That's a big subject which we'll have further discussion. So next question, and we've coupled 3 questions together here because they're covering virtually the same sort of subjects. First of all, Jerry Cusworth has asked about whether we are going to have a 10-minute intervals or 8-minute intervals when we reopen the booking system, which is obviously on the 29th of March. Also, that question was asked by Jay Rassel, whether it was going to be 8 minutes or 10 minutes, what that would be. We'll be answering that in a second. Jay also asked about how we were going to deal with slow play, and asked about whether we could use a drone to fly over and record what's going on the course. Well, I'll answer that as well in a second. And then also finally, Malcolm Graveling asked about the question, which is another big question, which is about obviously the board's feeling about the booking system. Right, so we're going to answer all of that now. I, first of all, will just quickly touch on the drone thing and the slow play. Obviously, drones, something that we certainly possibly should be looking at for the future. It's not something that we've even thought about in terms of the budget and how we would actually control that. It's food for thought, but unfortunately, Jay, it's not going to be something we're going to deal with in the short term. It's something that we might well come back to and revisit in the future. With regard to slow play right now, the board have asked me to prepare an email which will be going out before the 29th of March to you all, addressing the matter of slow play. And basically, we are saying what we've probably always had. We want people to understand what is actually meant by ready golf. So we're actually reiterating all the details about ready golf in that email. And we're also asking people that if somebody does get reported on continually gets reported for slow play, then we will take the measures which we have done before of writing to that particular member, suggesting that they speed up or that they even choose to play at a different time so they're not basically holding up the rest of the field. So we are very much aware of it, and we are going to take action when we can. But first of all, this email is going to go out to everybody just to remind them, as I say, about Ready Golf, and that how basically we want to cut down on the slow pay thing. Moving on now, I'd like to ask Barry Pearce to answer the question regarding the 8 or 10 minute intervals and the booking system. Over to you, Barry.
Okay, evening everyone. I'll start with a quick summary of how we used to do it in case there are any new members watching tonight. Pre-COVID, it was pretty much rock up and play Monday to Saturday. And if there was a lot of people about, you just waited your turn. Sunday was the main men's competition day, and we had a start sheet displayed in the clubhouse foyer from 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon for members to sign up, and another sheet was posted at 7 AM on Sunday. Since last year, it's all changed. We've been using an online start sheet with a mixture of 2 balls, 4 balls, 10-minute gaps and 8-minute gaps, as recommended or imposed by the government and golfing organisations. From March 29, as you all know, I'm sure, the golf course will be open for 4 balls, and we will be resuming on the online start sheet for 4-ball play at 8-minute intervals until further notice. There are a few restrictions ongoing, things like touching the flag, no ropes in bunkers and stuff like that. But basically, it's 8-minute intervals, 4-ball play. So the online booking system will be available from 7 AM the week before, Monday the 22nd. There will be thousands of fingers itching on the trigger, trying to book their first game at the same time. So delays are absolutely guaranteed, but they're completely out of the club's control. It's because the system is run by literally hundreds of golf clubs around the country. As things stand, the next big dates we're looking forward to are April 12 and May 17, which relate more to facilities for catering, drinking, golf lessons, etc. being restored. The biggie is June 21st, when it is planned for restrictions on congregating and facilities being open to be lifted, although some of the other small restrictions may well still be in operation, like the ropes and the flags and all that sort of stuff. If all goes well, prior to June 21st, we have to decide how to adapt to the change, and that's where the starting sheet comes in. After the success of attracting so many votes for the AGM, in the spirit of involving the members in such an important decision, on full resumption of golf as we know it, the board has decided to issue a survey monkey voting form to all members with a range of options, going from A, going back exactly to how it used to be, to Z, staying with the starting sheet system. The reason we want to do this is because the last year's board and this year's board have been fielding questions from members and suggestions of what we should do. You've literally had dozens of them. Sort of examples are: keep the online booking midweek and return to as it used to be at the weekend. Keep the online system, but find a way to make better use of the 11th at weekends. Keep the online system, but only for midweek afternoons when we were trying to attract visitors from Greenfield, and many, many more, such as ring fencing certain times for swindles, competitions and stuff like that. So basically, with all those options, we couldn't really do a survey based on so many options because something could win with about 10 votes. So the board's going to consider which options to offer nearer the time. And I say we are mindful that we need to keep it fairly basic in the first instance, so that there's no sort of what shall I say, splitting votes. If there's 4 questions about opening up as we used to with certain restrictions, we could end up with a split vote between a load of people who all want to go down the same road. So something that's not that popular could actually win. So we've got to discuss this at board level before that goes out, and the plan is to give members time to see how it's going to work and come back to the members on that score. I'm not sure when it's on our agenda. It is 3 months away, but we've got to be ready just in case restrictions are lifted. That's about it on that subject, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Barry.
Any of the boys have got any questions?
Yes, I don't know. Malcolm, do you have a question on that? If you do, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, please.
Yes, I've done that. Yeah, I can't quite understand why this survey, I mean, it's a good idea, but I can't quite understand why the survey can't happen sooner. Why do we need to wait until we're allowed to do without it again? Otherwise, we're not going to be ready.
No, we are going to wait, Malcolm. We're not going to wait indefinitely. We discussed this on Tuesday night this week. So we'll be formulating the options we're going to offer and then getting it out to members.
Okay, great.
Long before June.
Yeah, thanks very much, Keith.
Okay,
just one other quick question, kind of associated with that. I find it, I think I've written to you about this before. I find it very difficult to have to go into the pro shop to book the 11th if I didn't manage to get a booking online for the first. Going up, if you're teeing off at 8:10 and going into the pro shop at 8 o'clock is just a waste of time. And I just wonder, and I have asked this before, I know there is the capability in the software to have another course, because there is a test course as well. Why can't the 11th tee be set up as a different course so that people can book that online as well?
Right. Okay. I'm going to need to get, I don't know if Steve Murphy, do you want to reply to that one, please, about that, please?
Yes, certainly. The test course was there so that we can pre-test 2 balls, 4 balls, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and the effects thereafter. We also trialed the 11th tee, so that to see if we could take bookings for the 11th. But the problem with that is you would have to have some link between the 2 courses, because otherwise the system wouldn't know that, Malcolm, if you booked 10 o'clock off the 11th, we would have to rule out 8 o'clock off the first, or near as damn it, because otherwise you'd have a continuous flow of golfers going from 8 o'clock off the first. So there's got to be some interaction. So the best way we did it after many different tests was to have the manual start sheets in the pro shop. You can phone, you can go in, but even that was discussed at Tuesday's board, and we have agreed to look at some alternatives. It may be a different day that you can book on the 11th if the hot touch points are Saturday morning, Sunday morning, trying to book and play at the same time. It may be that we transfer the booking sheets to a Monday, Tuesday. We haven't decided yet, but we certainly said on Tuesday's board that we would look at some alternatives.
Yes.
But online, it's not possible at the moment, because you'd need some interaction. Otherwise, you could easily get situations where you've got 2 sets of golfers at the same on the same booking.
I don't really understand that, because at the moment the first tee is already booked out for people that are coming round from the 11th, and vice versa.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That can only work on a manual basis of the 11th.
Why? I don't understand that. You can block out the tea times on the first, can't you?
Yeah, and that's what we do.
Yeah, that's done manually, Malcolm.
Done manually.
I thought the I mean, I can't book at whatever it is, 10:30 on a Saturday morning, can I? Or 10 o'clock?
No, they're blocked out for the start sheet on the 11th. But as I
Exactly.
say, we are looking.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So where's the manual bit come into that?
Manual bit is the booking of the 11th. You can't book online on the 11th. You have to book manually via the sheet that's in the pro shop. But as we said, we are looking at alternatives to when that's released, and we, believe me, we're looking at everything we can just to make the system as seamless as possible.
Right. Okay. I think also, Steve Murphy, you might correct me if I'm wrong. I'll come to you in a minute, Neil. I know you got your hand up. I think I'm right, but please correct me if I'm wrong, in that on May the 17th, gatherings of up to 30 persons are possible, which could mean, Malcolm, that as far as I understand, that Swindles on a Saturday morning could start meeting from 17th of May in a roll-up situation, whereby you're only going to get people gathering for a very short time together on the tee, and then of course they're all going to disperse in their groups, and then you're allowed gatherings of up to 30 people from the 17th of May. So if I am correct, that would mean that we're only looking at this 11th tee problem and the actual Swindle problem on a Saturday morning for another 7 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
those dates are correct.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But you must also just have in the back of your mind that all the dates that have been published, both on the forum and the front page of the website, are subject to continual review by the government based on the R number, etc. Because everything is going in the right direction at the moment. But you know what happened last time, that we had a big reopening. So we've got to be careful individually and collectively. Yeah,
good. Thank you,
Just
Steve.
one other thing.
I think Neil wants to say something.
Yeah. Malcolm, it's Neil Davis here.
Hello.
I'd share your frustrations with this actually. So what had happened originally, we weren't going to open the 11th, and Steve Denman and I actually walked up and jumped on Steve Murphy and got into his office and got the paper out on the desk and was doing the swivels around who's coming off the first at this time, who's going to need to be blocked out there. And we've essentially replicated the system that they have on Sunday. But the computer facility that we've got doesn't have the capability of just doing that for an hour and a half. It would do it all day, all week. So that was one of the difficulties. We had to go to this manual system, but it was like the Krypton factor, I can assure you, trying to work out a way of doing it. Of course, it depends then. The other people who want to tee off in the block time on the first are complaining they can't play. So, it was sort of sod's law, really. The idea was that you get 8 people course at 8 o'clock and so forth, and you get more people back in. But like the guys have said, I think it's only going to be a temporary. The light is at the end of the tunnel, so fingers crossed, mate.
One final point on this, Barry Pearce.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the congregation thing, we're limited to how many tee times we can use from the 11th on a Saturday by the number of slots that are allocated for when they come round to the first. So that's something, if 30 people turn up and we've got 20 slots on the first, in theory, 10 people would have to go home.
Yeah, understood. Thank you, Barry.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that, Malcolm, and thank you for that, Jerry. I don't know if Jay's on the call. Next one is from Austin Manley, and he's asking about the 17th tee and whether it would be better to switch because of the where the 17th tee is, the elevated one, whether that she's better suited for the competitions and the medals, and it's in a more challenging position. Anyway, over to Steve Denman on this one.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good evening. Now, I've been in touch with Richard, and my thoughts are exactly the same as yours. I feel that the 17th tee box that we play off at the top is a much harder shot. We're going to change it straight away. That was one of my things that I'd like to bring up at the board meetings and address it to the board. So we addressed the board on Tuesday, and we was all in agreement. So we are going to change it. But what we're going to do, I spoke to Richard. He can move the tombstone down and make that the official competition tee up the top and the daily playing tee down the bottom. The only one concern he has, and the same with me, it's a smaller tee. But it's not a little par 3 that's 140 yards where everybody uses a 9-iron or whatever they use. Most people are using woods, so they don't take divots. So that's a good thing for us. You know, you're either using a 5-wood or a driver sometimes in the winter or whatever you're using. So that's the good thing. So what me and Richard have agreed, I haven't had a chance to go back to the board, was we're going to leave the tombstone at the top until we all agree, maybe give it a few months, and if it's working perfectly, and then he can move it down. So if that answers your question, but I'm in total agreement with you. It's a much harder shot from up the top.
Lovely.
I hope that answers your question.
Great, thank you, Steve.
No problem.
I don't know if Austin's actually on the call or not. I don't see his name. Anyway, right, moving on to the next one. Next question. It's from Mira Lobo, and she's asking about the entrance to the ladies' locker room and what the board is prepared to do about that to smarten that up. And this is in the capable hands of Larry Coyne. So you want to come off mute, Larry? Need to unmute yourself. Oh, yeah, good. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Mira. I'm in 100% agreement with you on everything you said about that. I won't answer the points 1, 2, and 3. I'll do it collectively. The ladies have been going through basically what is the commercial area. It's the back door to the kitchen. It's now been taken out of use. We're going to ask the ladies to use the front entrance. We're going to get some new signs up and go in through the foyer and access their room that way. In the long term, where Steve Denman and myself are looking to get a new entrance at the front. This can be done. I think some of the ladies on the committee know we've been sort of like looking at this. And as soon as we're allowed to, we'll have a meeting up there with all the ladies, and I hope Mira will come along. I'll let you know when it's going to be. And we can get you through what should be sort of like a nice, decent entrance, not only for our ladies, but visiting ladies as well. So the answer to that is we're not using the back door anymore. We're going to come through the front door, and things will be done. Hopefully before the end of the year, Steve Denman and myself will have something up and running so the ladies can come through the front in their own entrance.
Great. Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much.